Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to make a panel, interior panel, in my old 81 VW Caddy or VW pickup, Rabbit pickup. The car came without any panels here, so I'm going to make a panel that covers this. Pretty simple. It's a flat panel, so this is an easy one and a good one to start on. Is the fiberboard or the door cardboard, whatever you want to call it. It's about it's about an eighth inch thick. It's basically like heavy waterproofed cardboard, and I got it from perfectfit.com. This particular one is water resistant, and it's $7 a panel for a 32 by 48, and you can cut that with heavy duty scissors or like an EMT shears, which are my favorite, or you can cut it with a real sharp carpet knife or razor blade with a holder. I chose a vinyl that has a little bit of a carbon fiber panel on it. I got this from yourautotrim.com. I bought a lot of products from them. I'm pretty happy with their stuff. This is not the good four-way stretch. It stretches a little bit, but it's not a real four-way stretch vinyl. It was $16 a yard. Vinyls in general, you can get a million different grades, and they range anywhere from $6 a yard to maybe $25–30 a yard. Marine grade vinyl is really nice vinyl. It's got a different material on the back, heavy duty stuff, but it's a little bit harder to work with. These lighter weight vinyls stretch just a little better and are a little easier to wrap around the corners or any profiles that you might have in the panel. For underneath the vinyl, so between the vinyl and the fiberboard, I use the 1/4 inch medium density foam. It has a fabric backing on one side, and the other side you can see the cells. 1/4 inch and medium density. If you use any heavier density, it will come out too firm, and if you use a lighter density, it comes out kind of mushy. So I really like the medium density in the 1/4 inch thickness. This is pretty good stuff, and it was $5 a yard. I used some very low density 1/8 inch foam on the back side of the panel that was left over from another project. It's not required. I think it adds a little bit of sound dampening to the panels and helps keep it a little quieter in the car. Unfortunately, I don't. The first piece of it is obviously to take everything out that's going to be in the way. I had a speaker here, so that had to come out. Seat belt mounts up top and here at the bottom, so I had to take those bolts out and then pull the trim off, where I'm going to wrap the vinyl around the edge to give it a nice finished look. Along the window here, this window seal, I'm going to tuck the vinyl up under that seal, so I'll need to wrap it around the panel on that surface, this very top surface, and then along the bottom surface, and then we're going to leave a loose tab of a couple inches to tuck up under, to trim, and then tuck up under here, and then tuck around here, and then we'll put this door seal back on top of this flange. So that's the project. Let's get to it. Okay, the first step is to make a template, and what I did, I started with butcher paper, held it up, traced out what I thought I needed, and then transferred that onto cardboard, and then the cardboard, I trial fitted it, trimmed it a little bit, trial fit again, trial fitted till I got the edge just right, and then I went and cut the holes for the speaker and the bolts into the cardboard. Then I used that cardboard template, trace that onto the fiberboard. Here's a couple of pictures of that. Made sure my edges lined up and it was going to come out right and it fit well and that my holes all lined up. Then it's a matter of recovering it. Like I mentioned before, I've tried a bunch of different ones. Super 77 is my favorite. It just works the best for me. need to wrap it from here to here, and then let that hang over to go under the back windshield trim. The front side here, I'm going to cut off, and that edge, loose edge, is going to go in the door seal. And then this one here I'm going to cut out and wrap it around and staple it down. So now I'm just going to work out this corner and then start pulling it and stapling it just like I did across the bottom. 1/4 inch staples in my staple gun. Cut out the holes where the seatbelt or different things will go through your panel. So you can kind of push on it with your thumb, make sure you get where it is, and then just either using the corner of a razor blade or a nice sharp X-Acto, try to cut it as in a circle so it doesn't tear. The completed panel. And I'm going to trial fit it. You can see that loose edge that I talked about, leaving loose to fit underneath the window seal. And then this edge here will wrap around, and that door seal will crimp down over it. So what I'm going to do is a couple of things I wanted to mention. Messing with seat belts, of course it's a safety feature, so it's pretty important that you put it back together right. If you do got to replace the bolts to use something else, ensure that you get the same grade of bolt. Seatbelt is just one of those things that you don't want to chintz out on, and when you need it, it breaks too easy. I use the guys down at Ace Hardware. There's some pros down there. You can take them a bolt and they'll look at it and tell you what grade it is, help you find the right thread and get that grade or a better grade bolt. Just kind of important on seatbelt, so I want to mention that. The other thing is I put some red Loctite on the threads to make sure that that bolt doesn't back out, and then torque it down to the right. I'm going to go ahead and do the speaker first because that will change. You can see, maybe you can see it in the video, that it's moving just a little bit, and when I torque that speaker down, that's going to change this angle a little bit. So I'm going to do that before I wrap and pull this edge. Okay, the important thing is just go ahead and take your time as you're doing it. Don't get in a rush. As soon as you get in a rush, you'll mess something up, and then every time you get in the car, you'll see that error and you'll kick yourself for it. So just take your time as you're going along.
make sure you plug in your speaker before you screw it in. Now that I got the seatbelt on and the speaker in, I'm ready to start working these edges. I'm going to work this one first. The first step is to try to estimate how long you need that overlap. So you look at that rubber piece, and I can see it's about there, so I'm going to mark it and then trim it, and then I'll start pushing it up under. You can use a screwdriver for this next step, but my favorite is this, it's actually for pulling body panels. It's a little fork deal, but the reason I like it is because it's a little bit spoon shaped and all the corners are rounded, so you're less likely to punch a hole into the rubber seal as you're levering it up. And then basically all I'm doing is I'm going to lever up this seal, try to shove the vinyl up underneath it, and then just work my way down or up. Sometimes you start at one end and find you get stuck, you got to go back to the other end. Problem with doing that is sometimes you end up with a pucker in the middle. So if you can go from one end to the other, that's the preferable method. I'm going to tuck this. And there you have it. Comes out fairly nice. I was a little bit off in that corner. You'd have to get really close. But there is a gap there, but it'll be behind the headrest, so I'm not too worried about it. And this isn't a show car. This is just, I kind of want it to look a little bit cool. And I like having some interior in my vehicles. Okay, so the next one is this one here. And I'm going to pull this over and wrap it around and then run this seal back on it. This seal has an aluminum or steel C in it, so I'm going to pinch it a little bit as I'm going so it holds on. After putting it on and off a few times, that U shape opens up, or that C shape opens up. So I'm going to kind of pinch it as I'm shoving it back on so it holds on real tight. And then I'll go back with a razor blade on the outside and trim that edge. I tucked it up. There's the gap that I was talking about, that I left it just a little bit short. And I ran it all the way up under that seal and overlapped. And then on this edge, you can see how it fits underneath the door seal. Oh. Okay, and then so here's the door seal, and you can see where the fabric starts to come out. So I'm just going to take a razor blade and cut down along there to cut that excess fabric off all the way down so you can't see it. I might have to back off back that seal off just a little bit to make sure where I trim it ends up being behind that seal so you don't see it. And there you have it. We've got the panel in. It's all trimmed off. The seat belt's back in. Pretty easy job. The flat panel obviously is a lot easier. If you have a panel that has some ripples or an ashtray, some protrusions in it, that's a little more complicated. You got to make sure you use stretch fabric. But if you've got a flat one to start with, learn on that. Try that first. And then you can graduate to ones where you got to stretch the fabric out or maybe even sew seams in your fabric. The plan for my door panels is to sew another piece of fabric, use 2 or 3 pieces and sew them in to get a nice pattern in there. Hopefully I'll get a video of that up in the next couple of months. Thanks for watching. Good luck with yours.